Haley.
Rosie.
Haley Staveley.
Rosie Waterland.
In the early hours of the 17th of July, 1918, in the basement of a Russian house known as the House of Special Purpose, which is...
Sounds ominous.
How can you not know you're going to die in there? Mm-hmm. The entire Russian royal family was executed. Tsar Nicholas, his wife Alex, their 4 daughters, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, and their son Alexei, they were all killed. This was the wealthiest royal family on earth. They ruled over 1/6 of the entire planet. And the men who killed them decided to lie about it. They said that they had killed Nicholas, but they sent his wife and children away to an undisclosed location. And nobody could really prove that they hadn't because they hid the bodies. So for most of the next century, people all over the world claimed that the Romanov children had survived that night. Lots of people came forward saying that they were one of those children, particularly the youngest daughter, Anastasia. She became the center of a massive legend that still endures to this day. I mean, it's not a Disney movie. It's an animated movie, but it's not Disney. Famously not Disney. I still call it one of the best Disney movies ever. Like it's
the best Disney movie ever.
Best movie
is not
ever.
A Disney movie.
And so although bodies have since been found and DNA has proven that Anastasia and the rest of the children were killed that night, does it, Haley?
No.
Does it
I don't
prove
think
it?
so.
This is just the gist of the execution of the Romanov family and the alleged survival of Anastasia.
Amazing.
Hello, I'm Rosie Waterland, and this is Just the Gist, the podcast where I give you just the gist of entertaining stories, interesting information, just anything that will make you impress your friends at a dinner party. Joining me today is senior producer Haley Staveley. Hello, how are you?
Oh, did I just get promoted?
Did you? Are you not?
No, I am. No, I'm actually the general manager.
Everyone's just kind of senior producers, aren't they? Like, I don't know. Well, welcome.
Oh, thanks. I mean, wait, you're welcoming the listeners, not me. Welcome, listeners.
Welcome. We set up the studio ourselves without James here today. So if you're hearing this, it's a miracle.
If you're seeing this, an even bigger miracle.
If you're seeing and or hearing this,
hi.
We think we did it right. I'm currently using the number 1 headphones and the number 3 microphone, which is not what we usually do, but for some reason it's the only way we could make it work.
But the talent of being able to cross over.
Fingers crossed,
crossing
everyone.
Between colours.
Yeah, do you know a lot about this story?
I feel like it's one of those things where I think I do.
Yeah.
And then I hear it and I'm like, nah, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, well, you said the bodies have been found. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, have they?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they haven't. Inside job.
I mean,
inside what? I don't know, but yeah.
They have, but I think this is one of those conspiracies that, I mean, particularly of Anastasia, the Russian princess that may have survived. It's one of those ones that people love so much that they want it to still be real.
Yeah.
So even when it was like, it was DNA and we know, and it's like, no, but.
No, shut up.
They want to find a way to keep it, So, yeah. And I think there are a lot of people who are kind of like, could I be Anastasia?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I'm 25 in 2026.
Or like a direct descent, like, because if she just took off and lived another life or maybe hit her head and couldn't remember, or who knows, and like that means any one of us could be a direct descendant of, actually, you probably don't want to be because they're a pretty awful royal family, but we'll get into it.
But not the little girl.
Well, okay. All right, here we go.
In Rosie Waterland hates little girls.
All of them. Just the gist of the Romanovs. Let's go.
Excited. It's
1894 and Russia has been ruled for ages by a dude called Tsar Alexander III. Tsar is like king.
Yeah.
He has a son, Nicholas, who was 26 and he was next in line to the throne, but he kind of spent his days chilling and not worried about having to step in at all because his dad was only 49, so he wouldn't have to take over for ages. So he just kind of lived like a spoiled prince, and his father didn't really respect him or teach him anything because he also figured, I've got plenty of time, like I'll teach him later. But what happens in every story when someone thinks they have plenty of time to live? Bam! Tsar Alexander gets sick and dies.
Oh, no.
It was apparently some kidney problem. I don't know. I feel like back then
anything
you'd get a
could
runny nose and the next day you'd drop dead. So who knows? But he dies. And in 1894, Nicholas, who is 26, suddenly becomes the new Tsar of Russia.
Ooh.
And he's like, WTF? Like, I had planned on 2 more solid decades of chilling out and this sucks. Like, and also my dad didn't really tell me what to do. So shit. And at this time, Nicholas had already been engaged for a few months to his cousin, the German Princess Alex, who was almost 23, and her grandmother was Queen Victoria. She was still over in Germany because they kind of thought there's no need to rush to marriage, whatever. But once Nicholas became Tsar, it was like, get Alex over here, toot sweet. You got to marry her, quick, smart. You need a Serena. You need a queen to your king. And I think it was just, he was young. His father had died so suddenly, and basically Russians needed to feel confident that he was good and smart and grown up and knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So getting married and starting to pop out children, particularly sons, to lock in the line of succession, big deal.
Yep.
And also, this is quite rare for the time, but Nicholas and Alex were actually in love. Like, it wasn't just a political marriage or one of those weird inbred marriages just to keep it in the family, although it was inbred.
Yeah, I'm like, but dude, you said cousins.
But that wasn't the reason, like, because often cousins would marry on purpose to keep, like, the royal bloodline, like, pure or whatever. Yeah. They just actually fell in love. Like, Nicholas and Alex had met 10 years earlier and had been in love ever since and had been waiting for the day they could get engaged. There's a quote from Nicholas's diary the day he proposed to her, which was just a few months before his father died. He wrote, 8th of April, 1894, a wonderful, unforgettable day of my life. The day of my engagement to my dear beloved Alex. After 10 o'clock, she came to Aunt Mishan, and talking with her, we came to an understanding. God, what a mountain fell off my shoulders. I was like in a dream all day, not quite aware of what actually happened to me. And then he wrote, and this is supposedly about the moment she consented to the marriage proposal.
Right.
But the way he writes about it, I think it might be about her consenting to something else.
Yeah, well, do you consent to a marriage proposal?
He writes, we were left alone, and with her very first words, she consented. The Almighty only knows what happened to me then. I cried like a child, and she did too. The whole world is changed for me. Nature, mankind, everything. And all seem to be good and lovable and happy. I can't even write. My hands are trembling so.
Why does he write like a 15-year-old emo kid?
I feel like he just
he cried out of his penis.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they're in love apparently by all accounts.
Like first cousins?
Yeah, and not only were they related, like she was Queen Victoria's granddaughter, but he was cousins with her, but he was also related to Queen Victoria through another way.
Double relate. That's some Shelbyville shit.
I mean, this is why they all end up inbred and with issues. Actually, when we did a Patreon meetup, Just the Gist Patreon meetup in Sydney the other day, one of the listeners was telling me I should do a JTG on like some of the most inbred of the royals. Like it's a lot of the Habsburgs and stuff and all their weird. And I was like, that's
like that episode of 30 Rock with the prince.
Yes, yeah, it's so good. So anyway, they are apparently very much in love. So it made sense and they were already engaged. So it made sense that he marry her as quickly as possible. Not just because he needed a Serena and hopefully needed to very quickly have a son, but also because he was freaking out. Like he was suddenly in charge and he had no idea what he was doing and
he needed a mommy.
He needed the person he loved and trusted and to look after him and be a mommy. Yeah. And that did make the royal advisors around him not like Alex from the start. Like he turned to her for lots of advice and decision making and they kind of worked as a team in the way he ruled, and all those men who had worked for his dad for ages were like, how dare you let this little lady have so much power? Like, don't you? Why don't she answer me?
Oh, that's a nice one we haven't rolled out for a while.
I haven't rolled that out for a while. So anyway, they get married in 1894 and they're officially the Tsar and Tsarina of Russia, wealthiest royal family in the world. They literally rule over 1/6 of the planet, although I think that's just because Russia is 1/6 of the planet. Like,
at least.
over the next few years, they have 4 daughters, which is pretty stressful for Alex because her one job is to have a boy. So they have Olga in 1895, Tatiana in 1897, Maria in 1899, and Anastasia in 1901. And Alex is like, shit, I need to stop pushing vaginas out of my vagina. I need to push a penis out of my vagina quick smart because we need a boy because, you know, like girls aren't considered useful or worth anything. They can't take over. They want to continue their line of succession. They're just living in the palace, popping out daughters, hoping for a son. That's what Tsar Nicholas is up to. That's the home front. But as a ruler, things are tense between Tsar Nicholas and the people of Russia, pretty much right from the start. So it's a period in history where people all over the world had started asking for things like, you know, their rights and stuff.
Oh, that's inconvenient.
Yeah. They were starting to sort of wise up to the fact that the system of like a monarchy is a bit shit. Like, how come you get to be in charge of everything and get all the money and make all the decisions just because you're like royal or whatever? Like, what's that? Like why? What's the go with that?
Yeah.
In France, that had led to the French Revolution, where they got rid of their royal family by, you know, cutting all their heads off.
Yep.
And some royal families had seen that and thought, okay, shit, we had better like maybe take people's feedback on board.
Like maybe do something useful.
Yeah. So, or at least like do what we can to stop them wanting to also cut our heads off.
Yeah, maybe just work on the optics at least.
The optics. Kind of the British monarchy kind of did that a little. Like they were kind of like, okay, well, why don't we convert to something called a constitutional monarchy, which basically means like we still get to be the royal family and we still get to live in all our palaces and have all our money and own most of the land and be worshipped and wear crowns, but we let the people vote for a democratic government to represent them. And also they do all the boring leadership stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's the best case scenario.
It was kind of the best case scenario.
I want to keep the riches and not do the boring stuff.
But also it makes the people feel like they get a say and it makes them not want to cut the royal family's heads off. A lot of people say them converting to this system is one of the reasons they remain one of the only sort of enduring royal families in Europe. But Russia's royal family had not gone that way. The French Revolution had made the British go, oh, maybe we'll compromise a little. The Russian royal family doubled down like in the other direction. Before he had died, Nicholas's dad, Tsar Alexander, had been like really brutally old school. Like, my family is royal. It's been ordained by God. I have been ordained by God to rule, and if the Russian people aren't happy with the way I'm doing it, they can get fucked. Like, that was essentially...
We'll cut all their heads off first.
Yes, that was essentially his attitude. We just kill anyone who complains. Just like absolute dictatorship. No government where the people vote or debate on issues. Just the Tsar is the boss of it all. Triple stamp his no races. Get stuffed. And that's all Tsar Nicholas had ever seen from his father. So that's his attitude too. The royal family has been ordained by God, especially me, because I'm, you know, the heir to the throne. I'm a very special boy. I deserve all of this. And only I'm meant to be in charge and nobody else. He thinks that because his dad did. But the world was changing and people were rising up against their crappy royal families all over the place. The British had shown that there were at least options to compromise and not get your head cut off and keep the royal family intact, sort of. But by all accounts, Tsar Nicholas was not very smart. I mean, he was the classic spoiled prince who had grown up in a bubble in which he was the center of the universe. It wasn't considered he would have to rule for a long time, so they hadn't really focused on teaching him much. He had an idea of life that was very narrow. People around him said that he didn't really have the capacity to engage with different ideas or learn different concepts. We just like, that's like pretty brutal.
No, but like that sounds like a lot of men.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm never going to get a boyfriend.
But a lot of men aren't in charge of whole countries.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
But he does write in what I imagine is a fluffy little pink diary with a fluffy little pink pen.
Probably.
With a little lock on it.
He's giving, what do we call him? Regular person but worse.
Andrew.
Andrew, yes. You know, so he apparently he has a whole bunch of advisors around him who try to sort of talk him through things, but he's very much like, Daddy said I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the boss. Like, that's the vibe of Tsar Nicholas. And he's a terrible boss. Like, he's a terrible Tsar. He's a terrible ruler. Russia is in terrible shape. He sort of inherited it in terrible shape from his dad, but he makes it worse. There's severe poverty. Russia had been an agricultural society for hundreds of years, so like working the land, peasants, farmers, providing the food. But Nicholas kept increasing taxes because he's terrible at managing the economy. So whenever
He's
he
running out of
needed
rubies.
money to buy more rubies, he just taxed people and farmers. And then the Industrial Revolution starts happening. So, you know, machines are getting invented. So people are leaving their farms because they're getting taxed too much to sort of hopefully find work in the cities. But he hasn't really thought much about infrastructure, so the cities aren't really built for people, so they get overcrowded. People are freezing. There are no jobs. There's food shortages because all the farmers had stopped farming. Like, it's just the economy's falling apart. Everything's a mess. There's no work. People can't support themselves. They're freezing, hungry, just the basics that a country's ruler should be taking care of. And
sounds North Korea-y.
yeah, well, and Tsar Nicholas is kind of like, huh? Like freezing and hungry, but I'm warm and full.
Why don't you just eat like a feast?
But
they'll sort you out
and get warm. Like he doesn't.
You idiots.
He doesn't get it.
So I feel like this is going to be this is just the gist. Shut up. I don't fucking
go
care
for
about
it.
this detail. But like, how are they the richest royal family in the world when they have like a failing economy? And
they had amassed it over a lot of time, and then essentially. You're right to ask the question because this is at the point where it is all starting to run out.
Right.
It had been years of like fairly successful and brutal rulers taking lots of wealth from all over the place and running a really successful economy. But then these things started to fall apart after
The like Fabergé egg era.
Kind of, yeah. So Tsar Nicholas also just followed bizarre whims when he felt like it. Like, for example, one day he woke up and was just like, I want Japan. So he decides to start a war and he's like, guys, go and get me Japan. And so Russia's like already in bad shape, like no food, no work. And he starts sending all the like Russian men over to Japan because he wants it. And of course it all fails. It's terrible. Lots of people die. And if anybody complains about any of this, it's like, big trouble. So
was there anything interesting going on with Japan at that time? Like, why Japan?
I don't know. He decided he wanted it. I don't know. Maybe fetish. Who knows?
Ooh.
Yeah, geisha fetish. I don't know. But he sent a bunch of people over. They died. It was like, we can't get it. He was pissed off. Oh, well, probably just forgot about it.
What a sack of shit.
Yeah. So if people complained about any grievances to do with having to go to Japan because he wanted it or being hungry or there not being enough jobs or whatever, big trouble. So there was one day in 1905, the people of Russia sort of staged like a peaceful protest. A bunch of poor workers had put together a petition and got lots of people to sign it. It was asking just for more rights at work, better conditions, don't send us off to try and steal Japan when we don't have enough to eat, just that kind of basic stuff. And the people marched peacefully to the palace with the petition that they were hoping to present to Tsar Nicholas. When they got there, they're like, we're approaching peacefully and we have pretty reasonable requests. Yeah, like hopefully he'll speak with us. As the people approached the palace, Tsar Nicholas ordered the royal guards to open fire on them. Hundreds of people died. After that, he was called Nicholas the Bloody, and resentment and hatred towards him and the royal family in general started to fester a bit.
And I bet he was like, this is so unfair. Like, I've done nothing but serve these people for my entire life, and this is how they repay me. I've done nothing wrong.
So he doesn't seem like a really good dude. He's dumb. He's pretty arrogant. He's pretty pig-headed by all accounts.
Bit murdery,
and just kind of wants to spend time chilling in the palace with his wife and kids, like just living an opulent life, spending the country's money, not really thinking or caring much about anything outside of his bubble. And finally, in 1904, 10 years after Nicholas became ruler and they got married, Tsarina Alex has a son. Her fifth child, yes, his name is Alexei. Nicholas and Alex are so thrilled, relieved because only a boy can be the heir, and also thrilled because, like, you know, boys inherently have more value than girls. Don't know if you've heard. So Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, like, they're by all accounts really gorgeous. They're all beautiful. I think that's another reason why the stories about them endure. But they're, you know, they've been educated in the best ways. They're brilliant. They're probably spoiled, but by all accounts, they were quite impressive girls. But, like, if Alex could have shoved them all back up in exchange for a boy, she would have. So, like, having a boy was not only a relief, but just like, yes.
It's interesting that no royal family, I mean, maybe they did and we'll blow it wide open someday, but, like, just pretended that that they just kept having girls and just went, yeah, this one's a boy. Yes. And then just, like, covered it up, treated them as a boy, like, presented them as a boy.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the plot of Shakespeare in Love, no?
So she can be Shakespeare in Love.
Well, because only men and boys could perform, be in the plays. And the role that Gwyneth Paltrow plays, she's like a girl who's obsessed with the theatre and she wants to be an actor. So she like pretends to be a boy so that she can play a boy playing Juliet in Romeo and Juliet.
Right. Oh, and then does she fall in love with Romeo? Is that?
She falls in love with Shakespeare.
Shakespeare in Love. Is that why they? Oh, okay. That was smart of them to call it that.
And everyone talks about how that movie is famously one where Judi Dench won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, and she's only in the movie for like 6 minutes or something crazy. And
it's Judi Dench. She's the best.
It's Judi Dench, but she is great. She plays the Queen, and the Queen comes to the Globe Theatre to watch the like premiere of Romeo and Juliet, and when Gwyneth comes out as Juliet, because they did dress the men up as women. Yeah. So she just performs as herself. And when she comes out, everyone's like, oh, is that a woman? But it's like, no, it's a man dressed up as a woman, everyone. And everyone's like, okay.
That's good. That's what we want.
And then in the end, the Queen comes down to sort of like onto the stage to like congratulate the actors and Shakespeare. And when she walks over to Gwyneth accidentally does she starts to do a curtsy instead of a bow. And does she show cleavage? And
oh no, wait, the curtsy was the giveaway, not
yes. Why would I be telling you this whole thing? Because it was like because women curtsy and men bow.
I was immediately thinking about anatomy, and I was like, her vagina falls out, and then I was like, oh, I get it. She leant forward, and then they could see she had real boobs.
She goes to curtsy, and then she is like, shit, and she stops and bows, and Judi Dench kind of like gives her a sly like, I know you're a lady.
Lady to lady.
And that's what she won the Oscar for. Anyway,
yeah, I know. That's all I know about that movie is that stupid Oscar speech where she's like, oh, actually she has no cleavage. I remember from that.
Yeah, she has no cleavage.
From that Oscar speech.
Gwyneth. It's probably why she was believable as a boy in that movie. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I love that the last thing to do with the story was if Alex could shove them all back up in exchange for a boy, she would. And that sent us on that tangent. But it is obvious very quickly that Alexei is very sick. He, when he was born, would not stop bleeding from his belly button after they removed the umbilical cord. He has haemophilia, which is the disorder where your blood doesn't clot. So when you start bleeding, it's almost impossible to stop. And this is a disorder that is incredibly common amongst inbred people.
It's like the stereotypical sickly little royal baby.
A lot of European royals at the time had haemophilia and died of it.
I always think of the little boy in The Secret Garden.
The Secret Garden.
I don't think he even had.
Colin.
Yeah, I don't think he even had haemophilia, but he just had that vibe, that sickly like.
That was one of those ones where the dad like thought he was sick or something. I can't even, but he was actually fine, and then he broke out of his leg braces and
he needed
ran like Forrest Gump.
A magical girl to break him free.
I loved that movie.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
Okay, so he has haemophilia because they're also inbred, and I love that when rich people are inbred, it's like when they marry their cousins, it's classy. But when poor people do it, it's like you're Clayton, the slack-jawed yokel.
Clayton.
I've been listening to Love Trap
too much. It's like the assassinated versus murdered thing.
Yes, exactly. So because haemophilia is quite common, in royal families because of all the inbreeding, they immediately know what's wrong with Alexei. They know he's like a walking time bomb. It's the life expectancy is generally 16, and that's if you're lucky. Because it's not just like you don't stop bleeding if you accidentally cut yourself. It's internal injuries too. So it's the kind of thing where like he could be running and fall over at the park and seem fine, but nobody has any idea that he has massive internal bleeding and then he drops dead. So it's a very, back then it's still a dangerous thing to have today, but back then it was particularly like a death sentence. Yeah. So Serena Alex, she becomes obsessed with protecting Alexei in a major way. Like he's her precious boy already, but because of this illness, he's even more wrapped in cotton wool than he might have been. Like he is spoilt, attention, like he is the center of their universe, which apparently turns him into a dick. I mean, there is small bits and pieces of film footage because filming, like the early stages of being able to get things on film back then. And there's literally clips at like official events of him pushing people over as a little kid. And like there's one where there's like a school inspection and he turns to the kid next to him and just slaps him in the head. Like he's a little asshole.
Whoa.
So here is where the famous Rasputin comes into
Rasputin.
I knew you were going to do that. I literally basically had to pause for Haley
breaks
to sing.
into song.
So Rasputin comes into the picture here. The Serena is so fixated on protecting Alexei and keeping him well that she does what lots of rich ladies do when they have more money than critical thinking skills. She pivots away from medical treatment and into 1905 Russia's version of like the wellness industry.
Yeah, right.
Alternative medicine, if you will. Mm-hmm. And at the time, Rasputin was basically Pete Evans. So he'd become famous in Russia as like a cult-like figure who shunned traditional medicine. He claimed to be able to heal people with methods that he'd come up with through his like superior understanding of the world and the human body. He encouraged people not to trust doctors. He knew better. He looks kind of like a homeless wizard. He's like tall and skinny and he has like long scraggly hair and like a long pointy beard that he never brushes. He looks a bit like a mix between Charles Manson and Professor Dumbledore. Like that's what and then I also started writing and he has like these really long nails that he never cuts and I was like, is that true or am I just remembering that from the cartoon? And I went and looked at photos of him and I'm like, no, he doesn't. That's the cartoon.
Yes, he does.
But he's just like a spooky homeless wizard. That's what he looks like.
He always reminds like from the movie, like a rat-like human.
Yeah. He does he looks the kind of crazy that you imagine like Pete Evans like will end up looking like one day, just like sitting underground in a red light energy bunker, like muttering to himself about carbs. Like he looks like that. He's Rasputin's a very famously historically scary looking dude.
Yeah.
And like most insufferable rich people do, Zarina Alex gets all into like the alternative stuff, and when she hears about Rasputin, she's like, yes, thanks. He seems so smart and well-adjusted and like he definitely bathes. So when Alexei is about 3 years old, she has Rasputin brought to the palace to try and help Alexei's health issues.
It's the vibes.
And it does not take long for Alex to be convinced that Rasputin has made Alexei better. Like, I mean, the thing with hemophilia, though, is you're not really going to know, like, it's not fixed until something happens.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, like, so, but she's convinced that he's fixed him. And so she and Tsar Nicholas are so grateful that Rasputin kind of becomes like a permanent fixture in the palace after that. I feel it just kind of reminds me of like when rich people meet like a cool alternative person that makes them feel a bit like fringe and cool and a bit like subversive and like they're kind of slumming it a little with someone different. Like that's how I picture it.
Yeah.
So
it's wild to be railing against the medical system in that era. Where, like what was it? They were like giving heroin to babies and like
it's like you have a headache and they're like, here's cocaine.
Yeah.
Like it was the weird anyway.
Bizarre.
So he kind of almost moves into the palace. He becomes like a third parent to the royal children. There are lots of rumors going around that him and Alex are like, stupen. A lot of ministers and advisors become convinced that he's affecting Tsar Nicholas's like policy decisions. And like he probably was. It reminds me a lot of like how RFK Jr., who is a friend of Pete Evans, is a friend of Pete Evans and believes vaccinations are dangerous and all that crazy stuff. He like had one conversation with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, a rich idiot, was like, okay, I'll make you the US Secretary of Health.
Yeah, you sound like you know what's up.
I mean, RFK Jr. even wrote a book with Pete Evans called Make America Healthy Again.
Really?
Yeah, and it's got like keto recipes in it, and it's got all this
Activated
information
almonds.
about how vaccinations are like dangerous, and it's like they put it in all American schools. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I mean,
America at the moment is going to be a podcast in the future.
I know.
Like
what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people won't believe it.
No.
Sorry, guys. Like, sucks to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nicholas and Alex, like Rasputin, like they love him. They don't really realize or care that nobody else likes Rasputin, including the people. And I think, even if they did know the people didn't like him, I doubt they'd give an F. But public sentiment about this weird guy in the palace coming to big official events all the time. It's like you've got your Tsar, your Tsarina, and their weird homeless wizard friend with them all the time. They're like, what the hell?
Weird homeless wizard
So like
friend.
there's lots of political cartoons being published at the time of like, Rasputin like kissing Alex while he's like whispering in Nicholas's ear. And so the people are like, something weird's going on. We don't like it. And they already weren't the most like popular royal family. So now they've got this weirdo with them everywhere they go. And Rasputin is eventually murdered by like high up people in the royal family because they get sick of him being around all the time.
Is he assassinated?
Probably, I guess you would use that word rather than murdered. Yes.
I don't know.
But the damage had been done. Like Rasputin was almost the last straw when it came to the people being like, we can take shooting the peaceful marches. We can take sending us to Japan, but bringing that homeless wizard into the that's it.
No more homeless wizards.
Yeah. So we then get to the execution. Russia ends up in World War I. I'm not going to explain all the mechanics of that to you. This is just the gist. I'm sure some books have been written about it. Go have a look.
Maybe.
But Russia fights in World War I, and World War I messes Russia up. Like it's like Japan, but a gazillion times worse. Like they're not equipped to be fighting in a war. Nicholas is a shitty ruler, so nothing's prepared. All the men get sent off to fight, and there's no plan in place to keep Russia like going while they're away. There's no food. People are starving. The economy's collapsing. There's no adequate hospitals. Everything's going to shit. But Nicholas is just hanging out with Alex in, their many palaces with their kids and their billions of dollars, and they just have no sense of what's going on, apparently. He also doesn't believe, despite what advisors around him are increasingly trying to tell him, that his people would ever rise up against him because he's ordained by God. So
Yeah.
they never would.
He's still believing his own shit.
Yeah. The people are like, F you. We're starving and we have nothing, and you're the richest man in the world with all your Fabergé eggs, and you're sending us off to die in the war, and we're sick of your bullshit, and it's time for a revolution.
A revolution.
And the cool thing here is the Russian Revolution was like arguably started by women because they were all working in male jobs because the men were all off fighting in World War I. So women are all working in the factories and stuff, and they're like, what the fuck? There's no food. Like, we're hungry. We're barely getting paid. This is bullshit. And I love that the women are in there for 2 seconds and they're like, absolutely not.
No, fuck this. This is all wrong.
And so about 40,000 women march in protest of how terrible conditions are.
Nice.
And police and guards are sent in to break up the protest and told, like, just shoot them all like that last time. But when they get there, they were kind of like, there's too many of that last time it was a few hundred people. This is thousands and thousands of people. We cannot kill them all. They're mostly women. So the police and the guards refuse to shoot at them And then while they're there, they're kind of like, actually, hey, yeah, what you guys are saying makes sense.
Yeah, we're joining.
And they do.
Do they?
So they join.
Yes,
so
awesome.
they all join the protest. So what started off as, a protest just about better working conditions, maybe getting some food, it ends up this huge protest just about people basically wanting to get rid of the royal family and put in their own kind of government that actually takes care of them and cares about them. And Tsar Nicholas and Serena, Alex, and their 4 daughters and Alexei are kind of like, but we're pretty and rich and you guys love us.
Yeah.
And the people are like, no, we don't. And
I'm cool.
Yeah. Hold on. No, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Stop it. They won't stop it. So a group, like a rebel group formed by the people called the Bolsheviks. They are led by Lenin. Ever heard of him?
No. I think he was a Beatle.
Yeah, he was a Beatle.
Yeah.
Lenin, again, this is just the gist. Read a book. Important Russian guy. They storm the palace and Nicholas is like, oh my God, okay, like fine. Sorry, I've spent years living in splendor and not taking care of anyone. But like, you know what? No harm, no foul. I'll just quit. I'll just go. No dramas. I'll take my fam and all my money and I'll go live in France or something. Yeah, like I'll go live in France or something. And so he abdicates the throne. He's like not a noble king in any sense where he's like, no, I will stay and fight. He's like, whatever.
I'm listening to the people. Yeah. I'll write my way. He's just like,
I'm going.
Ew, sorry. Ew.
Get me out of here. I'll take my money and leave. And he abdicates thinking they will just say, okay, fine, see ya. Yeah. But they're mad at him. So they arrest him and the Serena and they take them and all their children into custody until they can decide what to do with them. So essentially the royal family has been de-royaled and this group has decided that they form, a new Russian government. And so for 16 months, they keep the family like in custody, locked up, and they're moving them around to different places, different houses until finally they get brought to a big house called the House of Special Purpose, which is just where you go to get tortured or something.
Imagine like what it's called in Russian as well. Like it would sound even scarier. It would sound even scarier.
Yeah. So the Bolsheviks had kept them alive and kept moving them around because once they took over, they weren't really sure what to do with them because they were related to a lot of other royal families in Europe who would be pissed off if they were killed. And so they were kind of like, I don't know, do we just send them away? Like even Queen Victoria offered, I'll take them, send them to England.
But then that's not justice for them because they'll just go and chill in another palace and keep palacing around.
It's not justice, but also they're worried that because there are still a whole lot of people who are on their side and feel like the royals have been – like they want to put the royals back in place. So they're like, if we keep them alive – there may eventually be some group who tries to kick us out to put him back in. And so they're literally like frozen in choice. They don't know what to do. That's why they just sort of keep them alive and keep moving them around while they're trying to figure out what they should do.
That's like bits of furniture in my house that I can't decide if I want to keep or throw away. And I just keep moving them thinking maybe if it goes there, I'll like it.
Yeah, basically. And so while they're trying to decide, kill them.
Yeah.
Not.
Council clean up.
It's like
corner
with a little
room.
daisy. Kill them not. And so while they're trying to decide, one day they hear that a rebel group that is on the side of Tsar Nicholas, they hear that they're coming to the house they plan to attack them and like try and take the family to get them out. And so the Bolsheviks freak out and they're like, okay, shit, we just have to kill them all. We need to kill them all. So in the early hours of July 17, 1918, like the middle of the night, guards wake up the family and tell them, we're moving you to another location for your safety. At this point, Olga's 22, Tatiana's 21, Maria is 19, Anastasia is 17, and Alexei is 13. And their parents are like, I don't know, 25 years older than them. Do the maths. They are taken down to the basement where they're told to wait until their transport arrives. And they're kind of excited to be moving because it's a really shitty house that they've been in. So they're like, oh, thank God, we're hopefully going somewhere better. The Serena asks for 2 chairs for her and Alexei to sit on because he is sickly and special. So 2 chairs are brought in. They're sitting down. Everyone else is standing up. Then all of a sudden, the Bolshevik officer Yakov Yurovsky walks in to the basement and reads a statement out loud that says, the Soviet workers' deputies have sentenced you to death by execution. And apparently Tsar Nicholas is so stunned that he says, what? What did you say? And Yakov repeats the statement. Then gunmen file into the room and immediately start shooting at the family, who also, by the way, have their doctor and 3 servants with them who are often like left out of this narrative.
Did they just get shot as well?
Yeah, and the room is small. So when, there's the 5 kids, 2 parents and a doctor and 3 servants. So that's and they're just like bunched in the corner of it's like the size of, I don't know, imagine a kitchen if you're not rich. The size of a kitchen. And these gunmen all come in. They're not like lined up in a single file because there's so many of it. They just start shooting at them in this tiny space.
I mean, I guess at least there wasn't much time to panic.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty awful because the shooters kind of botch it because there was no order to it. There's shots firing everywhere. It's a tiny windowless room. It fills with smoke so nobody can see anything. There's screaming. The guards had each been assigned which person they were supposed to shoot, but when they got into the room, none of the soldiers wanted to shoot the children. So then they all start shooting at Nicholas and Alex and the doctor and the staff. So they die first. They kept shooting. But the girls had kind of inadvertently made bulletproof vests for themselves because they had, when they were removed from the palace, taken all their jewelry with them and sewed it into the lining of their clothes. And so they had like a whole lot of like diamonds and silver and gold and all that kind of stuff. And so in like trying to avoid shooting the children, the soldiers actually made it worse because the Tsar and Serena got to die instantly.
Yeah.
The girls are getting shot at, having bullets bounce off them. The soldiers can't see because by this point the room is filled with smoke. So they're just hitting these girls in like their arms or their legs or like it's just a mess. And then it has taken too long and the guards are worried about neighbors hearing gunshots. So finally they just kill the girls by stabbing them with the bayonets on their guns. It's like a brutal, horrific execution.
I love that 5 minutes ago they were like, I don't want to shoot them. And then they're like, that's cool. I'll just fucking walk up to them and stab them. Fuck. Why couldn't they just let the girl go?
Well, that's speculation. So Tsar Nicholas, Tsarina Alex, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, Alexei, and the doctor and the 3 servants have all been killed. They then put all the bodies in a truck and the plan is to drive out to a mine shaft and drop them down in it and cover it with quicklime, which like will help dissolve the bodies. But the truck breaks down. And the men are like,
we have no petrol. We have no money. We have no petrol.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they're like, you deserve this. This is because of you. The men are like, let's just do it here. So they bash in the faces of all the bodies to make them difficult to identify. They chop them up as much as they can, and then they separate the bodies into 2 groups and burn them. So Maria and Alexei are buried together in one area and the rest of the family and the others are buried a bit like away. The next day, other members of the Romanov family, so not the not the immediate family, but people like Zarina Alex's sister, other family members like that, they're taken to that mine shaft that they had planned to bury the Romanovs in and they're just thrown down in it alive. Yeah, they're brutal.
Oh, no.
So the Bolsheviks did not want anybody to know that they had killed the family because of the reasons I explained before, that they're a very well-connected family and they don't want people knowing they did this. So they released a statement saying Tsar Nicholas had been executed for his crimes against the people, which was politically considered fair game. But his wife and children, they said, had been exiled. They'd been put on a train to an undisclosed location. So that's kind of where all the fantasy started about where the children could possibly be. I mean, people knew really that they were probably dead because they never
resurfaced.
Yeah. But over the years, people did come forward. A lot of people came forward claiming to be the royal children. I mean,
I remember one old lady.
Yeah, everybody remembers there's one particular famous lady who insisted she was Anastasia. And Anastasia became the one that most people know of, but people actually came forward saying they were all of the kids. Lots of people did. So the myth about Anastasia was the one that really grew, like you said, because there was this one woman that everyone remembers. It became quite an internationally famous case. In 1920, a woman called Anna Anderson, she also went by a bunch of other names, she tried to take her own life in Berlin by jumping off a bridge, and she survived and was pulled from the water and taken to a mental institution, and she was there for about a year. And while she was there, she obsessively read about the Romanovs, and because, they'd only been executed a couple years earlier. It was huge news. Nobody knew what had happened to them, and it hadn't been very long ago, so there was still a lot of speculation. It was written about a lot. And she suddenly started claiming to be Anastasia. And a bunch of people, really believed her. People in the immediate family, sort of related to them, denounced her as an imposter, but there were important people all over Europe who believed she was Anastasia. She spent many years in and out of mental health facilities, but also living with really wealthy aristocratic people and being funded by wealthy aristocratic people who believed she was Anastasia Romanov.
Yeah.
She was hugely famous in the press because she just talked to anyone who would, listen to her about it. She acted like a royal. She was a very indignant, royal person. To the day she died, she insisted she was Anastasia. She died in 1984, and they took hair and tissue samples from her. They knew DNA would be a thing one day. It wasn't yet. In 1991, when DNA did become a thing, they tested the samples they took from her, and she was no relation.
I didn't know she got away with it till her after her death.
She died thinking she got away with it. I like that for her.
Yeah,
good for her.
Good job, Anna.
Good for her. So the bodies. A random dude in Russia found the bodies in 1979, but he was too scared to say anything because the government throughout history very much was do not talk about the Romanovs, because it's a horrific thing that happened. They tried to really separate themselves from that situation.
Yeah.
And as long as the bodies weren't found, it was believable that they sent the wife and the children into exile. So this guy found these bodies, suspected who they were, but was I'm not saying nothing. So he didn't say anything. But when things started to change in the political climate in Russia and ease up a bit, a little over a decade later in 1991, he went to the government and he was yo, I found these bodies a while ago. BT Dubs back in 1979. I can show you where they are. So they go and look, and in 1991, the bodies of Tsar Nicholas, Serena Alex, and 3 of their daughters are found and exhumed. But one daughter and Alexei are missing. So it kind of was smart that they separated them like that. That fueled the conspiracy even more. It was see, they did escape. They escaped. 2 of them escaped. Alexei and one of the girls escaped. The bodies they found were after a lot of the government didn't want them to have any kind of special funeral because they were the reason they were kicked out of leadership is because they were awful. There was a lot of back and forth about how they should be buried, but they were eventually buried in St. Petersburg at this big fancy cathedral. Initially, the church sort of didn't really want to be part of it. For the longest time, Boris Yeltsin, he was saying he wasn't going to go to the funeral. But in the end, they had this funeral for them, and they were buried interred. What do you say when it's a cathedral? Like in 1998, they have a big fancy royal funeral. Then in 2007, so almost a decade later, the final 2 bodies are found.
What? It was only in 2007?
Yeah. Alexei, and they did a bunch of testing and figured out that it was actually Maria. So all this time everyone thinking Anastasia was the one. It was Alexei and Maria were the ones who were buried separately. Yeah. They were found in that separate grave nearby. And so, that kind of finally should have put to rest the rumor that any of the children, particularly Anastasia, had escaped. But it didn't, because the Russian Orthodox Church refused and kind of still is refusing to acknowledge that the remains are that of Alexei and Maria. Wow. So they won't bury them with their family in that cathedral. Yeah. So literally, I looked this up today. Their remains are still just sort of sitting somewhere in some Russian archival place waiting.
A Tupperware container.
Like my mum, like waiting to sort of be buried, because the church, just for a bunch of reasons, this is just the gist, is like does not think it can be verified that that's them. Like why were they separate? Why weren't they over there? Whatever. So, I mean, a lot of people are saying, the tinfoil hat people, speculation, because it's hard. It's like, what? It doesn't make sense. Why? Surely it's them. It's them. Come on, there's DNA. They were right over there. But so some people say that the Russian Orthodox Church knows something we don't, because it is a huge deal to bury royal people in that royal part of the cathedral. Like only royals who have been ordained by God are allowed to be buried in there. So there are people who think the Russian Orthodox Church are refusing to bury the final 2 bodies with the rest of the family because they know that those bodies are not Alexei and Maria.
Yeah.
That is...
I like that. I like that theory. This is a fun one.
That is the final sort of thing that is keeping the conspiracy people about this, keeping them in it.
Yeah, good. All right, I'm back in.
So...
How did they even know it was Maria? Like...
They did a bunch of tests. I started looking into the DNA of it because I had that question too, but it was the bones and the size and the age. They just the gist. They know it was Maria.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that is just the gist of the Romanovs, the execution, the conspiracy. That's where it lands.
I love that you've left an ellipsis at the end of this.
Well, ... Mm-hmm. I mean, why won't the church? Why won't they? It doesn't make any sense.
We need a part 2 that goes into all the conspiracy of it.
I mean, there's not much else. Really, it was just people over the years, mainly grifters who wanted to get money and be treated like royals, would come forward and say, I'm Anastasia, or I'm Alexei, or I'm one of the kids. Eventually they find the bodies. So it's like, sorry, we found the bodies. And the only other conspiracy that remains is well, why won't the church accept that those final 2 are the final 2 children?
But I'm grateful for that small thread.
Yeah.
It's going to allow me to waste a lot of time
I mean, yeah, go down that way. Let's look at it now. I want to see. Why... Delayed recognizing the remains as authentic due to deep skepticism regarding the 1990s forensic investigation, the sacred status of the bones as potential holy relics, and a reluctance to validate the secular handling of the case. Because the church canonized the Romanov family as martyrs, any discovered remains are considered holy relics. Church leadership requires undeniable proof, such as comparative DNA tests using the closest living relatives, before they will sanction the bones for veneration, and they are saying that they have not had enough proof to...
Why the hell not? They've got all the other bodies.
All the other ones. And I don't know.
I guess they got all the family. They mine shafted the other ones, so there's probably no actual descendants that could...
It would seem that the discovery of the missing Romanovs would put the rumours and mysteries to rest, but that didn't happen. Though DNA confirmed the bones were Alexei's and Maria's, the Russian Orthodox Church didn't acknowledge the discovery, and historians worried the dispute was political, not historical. So it's all just men fighting with each other. It's unclear why the church dragged its feet, but some commentators believe it was an attempt by the church to court Vladimir Putin and his government, who have suggested rehabilitating the Romanov monarchy. In 2015, Nicholas's remains were exhumed for further testing, and in 2018, new DNA tests corroborated the original DNA findings. But Alexei and Maria's remains are still being held in a Russian state archive, not buried along with the rest of their family. It's unclear when or even if their burial will occur. Even with DNA results, a century after the Romanovs' grisly murder, their story remains mysterious and politically fraught as it was the day they were killed. That's from history.com.
But so that's so sad. That's just 2 kids out of a family.
And it sounds like the reason the church is not, it's just political stuff.
Dick swinging.
They're kind of holding on to them for when it's most advantageous to them to make a choice about it. And in the meantime, they're just, but then, like you said, it keeps the conspiracy alive because people are like, or it's not political stuff and it's that they know something we don't.
Were the bodies, how close were they? And was
not
there?
Far off. They weren't far away from each other. It was like.
So they didn't search the area when they found the first batch. They just went.
I guess not. Yeah. They just found. I mean, that's why you're like, oh, geez, genius soldiers, burying them a bit apart. And it's like, well, yeah, it worked.
Yeah, it's still working.
Yeah. It worked.
Was there a guy, was there a soldier that confessed all of this, or have they just kind of figured it out from what they found?
It was archived. People confessed things later. There were sealed documents where people talked about what happened that night. But the government, what went on to become the Soviet Union, they kept all of this very under wraps. They never wanted anyone to know how badly
they killed some children
that night had been had gone. Yeah, so it's that's it. That's just the gist of the Romanovs and all of that. All of that. Good conclusion, Rosie.
Things equal bad.
Things equal not excellent.
And the stupid thing is, I know I learnt this in high school, but
because this was one of the fun history things we learned. It felt
I don't remember it.
I mean, I think I find it interesting. Maybe because I'm older now. What went into why people hated Tsar Nicholas so much, just the way he ran the country and people rising up and revolutions and you can see, even though as a kid we romanticized it probably because of that cartoon movie and it was like, oh, they should have lived. Imagine if they'd, and it's like, no, they would have run that country into the ground. The amount of people who died because of that family. People, and I doubt those girls were nice. They were probably spoiled and awful. I mean, it sounds like Alexei was awful. No one deserves to die the way they did, but I don't think romanticizing the idea about them staying the royal family forever is the way to go. Yeah. Things weren't great in Russia at the time. I wouldn't say things are great there often today, but
famously a beautiful utopia where many people aspire to live.
Beautiful democratic utopia. So that's that one. Highly reco you watch the cartoon movie Anastasia if you haven't.
It's very factual.
Go see the musical.
Yeah, can we? Rhonda Birchmore, please call in when you've
call in
listened
on the
to this episode.
And as usual, all the resources in the show notes. But that was just the gist of that. Thank you so much. Love you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Just the Gist, a Just the Network production. Executive produced and hosted by me, Rosie Waterland. Produced and edited by James Joseph with additional production support from JTG team Kate Lieber and Hayley Stavely and Acast legends Guy Scott Wilson and Simon McDermott. Looking for breaking news? It drops on the Just the Gist Patreon every Tuesday, along with a whole lot of other bonus audio, video, and behind-the-scenes content, which you can access for just $1, $1 a week by clicking the link in the show notes or searching Just the Gist Podcast on Patreon. Follow Just the Gist on Instagram and TikTok at Just the Gist Podcast and watch the video version of every episode on our YouTube channel, also at, funnily enough, Just the Gist Podcast. Follow Rosie, that's me, in all of the places at Rosie Waterland. Want to give us a suggestion? Tell Rosie to stop singing so much? Email us at hello@justthegist.com.au. Thank you, as always, for listening. Now go say something impressive at a dinner party. Bye.